Alright. Alright, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Oh my, it's been a very difficult week. It's been a very difficult couple weeks. I guess I just got hit with like a weird wave of just kind of like grief out of nowhere. Like back when I guess kind of like near the tail end of last week. It was something where oh no, flies. Oh no. I feel like it's one of those things where I try to like find like something to like swat him with. Like what's it called? I think usually with me it's like makeshift like kind of like paper almost or like almost like a like cardboard almost like whatever I could find to like fan it away or give it like a smack. But yeah, around the tail end of last week I went through just kind of like a weird wave of grief. Kind of just something where I kind of just overthink things, I guess, sort of almost in like kind of like a catastrophizing sort of way where I get this kind of like hypersensitivity towards like most things. Like it's kind of like a weird state of mind where like when it comes to things like I'll like try to play games that are like less violent or I guess games where I'm not like killing like real life things or like I'll worry about like watching violence on TV and I'll be like kind of like almost like teary-eyed about it, and it's like I know I'm not thinking rationally about this. It's just like this weird empath side that I have where like if I'm feeling really depressed, like I'll feel like I don't deserve things, and then part of the reason why I don't deserve things is that like other things like what's it called suffer for my sake. Like what's it called, like the food I eat like probably suffered at some point, or like the people I talk to probably like had suffered at some point, and that just makes me feel like shit. But it's one of those things where now that like I'm kind of a little more distant from it, like I'm just kind of piecing it all together and making sense of it. Just kind of the reason why like I have these weird kind of moments where I like kind of just like have these flare-ups of crashing in a sense. Or like I'll think the worst of like how I feel or the worst of how I'm dealing with things like anxiety or panic. But the good thing is that it's going to be really interesting to see everything come back and return. I think what's it called, seeing Ace Attorney again kind of has me really excited. I want to just jump into it, see how it goes. Yay. What's it called? It has been some time. I feel so bad about Thursday. I what's it called? I had a really rough work week between that and like the sort of grief I was going through at a given time. So at the moment, what's it called? Where we are at, we're at the epilogue of like the Great Ace Attorney 1. And we're about to get started with the second game. So if what's it called, my YouTube VODs. This case is epic. I'll be able to info dump about my OTP once we're here. Oh my. I'll have to see what that's like, because what's it called? I know we're almost like wrapped up with this one in particular. I think where I left off was pretty solid too, because I think where I left off was like around the point where like Gina was kind of just like giving like sort of like a tearful thanks for everything. So I think at the moment we're just kind of dealing with the epilogue of like the case against like Gina. Just a little ginger tea and we are here. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll see her again. Whoa, whoa! Quite the indomitable pick purse.
Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought the paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial's all over the front page. Pickpocket innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful?
You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled.
Oh no, how silly of me. But anyway, would you like the good news or the bad?
Bad news? Oh, not again.
Well, what do you say, Bruno? Hurley?
As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news.
And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it?
Let's not go there.
Alright then, maybe we'll start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped, and a record level of rainfall apparently.
Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news?
The huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out in Dover have been delayed by a day or more.
Wait, Dover?
That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we may still be able to make it in time to wave Susie off.
But... there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Bail Ashley out on the grounds of him being hot. Bail Ashley out on the grounds of it just being like a little bit of trolling. Just a bit of hijinks. Mr. Windabank caught a bullet. Got like, what's it called? Windabank just mildly grazed into the bullet on accident. I rushed to the Victoria station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. Silly and fun. Windabank's had bad vibes. He was constantly just pointing a gun at both himself and other people, but he had the gun on his front like desk. Who would have known if he would have gotten somebody? I don't. The great detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of rail transport directors' foibles. What? I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way.
What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria.
Herlock is blackmailing the guy that runs the train station. Or the boat. Or I guess the boat station. Oh, the little flag has a little animation. That's fun. That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated.
Susie's boat must be about to leave now.
Miss Susato, where are you? Over there. Look. And it looks like she's reading something. Hold it! Objection! What are you doing with that book? Miss Susato, wait, what are you doing?
Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here?
We made it as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that the sailing's been delayed due to the bad weather, you see.
Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go?
It went well. She was acquitted. No, what's it? Oh man, you missed out on quite a roller coaster, Susato.
That's wonderful. Really wonderful news.
The book you were about to throw into the sea. It was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it?
Oh dear. I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So, I was saying my final farewell.
You were saying goodbye to law? You? Susato-san? Ashley Graydon mentioned. I think it was just the idea that what's it called? Susato completely missed out on Ashley being the culprit. Be like, man, we have a lot to tell you once we like get back to like Japan.
What?
It's like, wait a second, Gregson was hiding government secrets? Would I be correct in assuming it's because of the people, Miss Susato?
I deliberately altered the scene of a crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come up with this, Susie? How'd you come to have it? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Shomes had invited Gina to dinner, you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Runo's armband.
Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. The band is very important to me.
Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice for ages.
Fucker. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry for fucker.
On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flap-o-matic, so I put it up my sleeve. Really? And then I rather forgot about it, until I found myself at Mr. Windibank's shop with it later that night.
I see.
And then...
Ah! Mr. Shomes! Mr. Shomes! Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. Oh, they forgot the what's it called? The Skullkins lines. After Miss... Oh, sorry, that was the Shomes voice.
After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think. That door started to play on my mind.
The storeroom door, you mean?
Yes. If Gina was anywhere in that shop, I realized it could be behind that door. And at that moment, this little device I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina. I simply had to know.
I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. Wow, Susato, you sound really different. How did that happen? So, you used the cat flap-o-matic to make the peephole in the door.
As captured in the photographic print of the shop. By one of Hurley's red-handed recorders.
Indeed! It was the first of first importance, that point. And please don't impersonate me again, Susato. That was really mean. I don't sound like that. I don't sound like this. I sound like this. You make me sound like a cartoon character. It's so embarrassing. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though, naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing.
But when I looked through the hole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial 2 months earlier. The trial of Magnus McGilded. I thought about how he manipulated the advice and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then, a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windibank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing. You were worried about the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime, right? That's right. And then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case.
What do you mean?
Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have been a way to see beyond the door.
Ah! For which a peephole would be the very thing.
Only the peephole I made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal wouldn't know that, so it wouldn't make any difference.
But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it?
So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned you made a peephole to anyone, not even to the police.
I know.
And I knew at the time that I was doing it, it was wrong. A criminal offense, even. It's why I decided to confide with Mr. Sholmes. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner, with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the people could save him. It was my plan.
She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in this whole escapade. You could have been disbarred if you had been seen to knowingly tampered with the crime scene. So Mrs. Sato decided to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake and Miss Lestrade's.
Miss Susato. The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I had lost a little of my faith in the law.
Oh.
I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant.
What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand, using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole consistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Miss Susato, what you did saved Gina's life.
Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you saved me too, from my regrets.
Well, we must be all thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind for sure.
But the revelation of the music box disc contains secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration.
Well, actually, the argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was.
Oh, it wasn't?
There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see, a telegraph operator. And she said a majority of the sounds in the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect. After all, we are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they had been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then we could have never hoped to understand the message anyways. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. So... What?
Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny.
Wait!
Iris, what did you just say? Oh, I just said Asoki. Does that word mean something to you?
Means something. Asogi was the name of my best friend.
What?
But how?
How do you know that name, Iris? I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box.
She transcribed it on the fly. She really is a genius.
I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whenever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least.
Oh.
It suddenly occurred to me, you see. There's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world would have altered and added a Morse code to use it in their own languages.
I don't believe it. Are you saying?
That's right. I've only seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the Iroha pangram, isn't it?
And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code, the message says Asogi?
Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all of Japanese Morse code.
Iris, would you let me see that? Miss Susato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code?
Yes, I spent some time studying it. Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become more important than ever for international communications.
Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version?
Be that as it may. Iris, show me the message, please. Of course.
Sorry, what? Do you want to? Hey, you can jump in. Alright. What's it called? This is going to be a fun one, but I am going to be sharing the mic with my roommate, Amana. She will be joining me on this stream.
Hello, hi. I'm just here to give commentary. I want to know why Iris said the name and it didn't ring a bell to Shomes when he was there during the whole entire, when he should have known the name of Kazuma because he was there during the death of Kazuma.
Yeah, I guess it would be something where he kind of seemed oblivious about it, but for some reason, like, what's it called? I get, like, what's her name not knowing, Iris, but I don't get how, like, Sherlock would seem so oblivious towards it. Let's see.
But what can this possibly mean?
Whatever in this long sentence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes. It's made of color drain from Susato's face.
There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code.
So the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications?
I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names.
4 names?
And the first is Kei Asogi.
Kazuma Asogi. Why? Why is his name on that disc?
The second is A Shin.
Shin? I don't recognize that name.
The third is T Gregson.
Gregson? Ah, it would seem Tobias Gregson is the 3rd man on the list. And what's his name doing in a secret government communication as well?
And the last name.
What's the matter, Miss Susato? Shin, what about a ankle? A shin, a ankle. A ankle.
B itch.
B itch. That's what that guy called me outside the courthouse.
B itch.
What's the matter, Miss Susato?
It's just so strange.
So unexpected. And the gilded, you bastard.
Oh, what a surprise. Don't keep us in suspense.
A. Graydon.
The last name is J. Wilson. What?
Wilson?
John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy?
Why are you smiling?
It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then, after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4.
Gee, Ashley Rustin's trying to roll out the floor. The secret 5th person, A. Grace. And that's the end of the message, or rather, the end of what you wrote down, Iris.
I just can't believe it.
No, I just can't believe it. Who would have ever thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of disturbingly familiar names. It would appear this particular message is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan.
So, Daddy could be in Japan then, where Susie and Runo come from. Oh, well... No, it's not likely really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson, and there's just a lot of J's among them.
Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. But we can't tell Iris about that now. We just can't. Oops. Oops. But...
Okay, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So, let's go off to the assumption that Sholmes was in the boat because he just left Japan, right?
I think maybe he had been on the boat from other visits.
Oh.
Because it was a big boat. It was coming from a lot of different ports.
Ah.
So I assume that maybe he came from another port.
I didn't know if him and Wilson were together in Japan.
Because they might have been at some point.
So,
but
I guess he just thought that he stayed in Japan a little bit longer.
I think so. Or I think that was it called. Maybe he just thought that he was kind of staying there for a bit.
Did we ever figure out why Sholmes was trying to pawn off Iris's book?
We didn't yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I feel like I've been rolled back on a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave.
I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside.
I want to go inside your dark cave.
That's a good. Oh no, not the pickup lines. You're just about to leave to Japan. The Kurlock was coming from India, and he pawned off the book to safekeep. Oh, yeah.
Ah.
I could see that being the case.
That makes sense.
Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon.
Yes, it seems so.
I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. I hear Harry Styles is there. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Watermelon sugar, hi.
Watermelon sugar, hi. We are officially banning watermelon sugar.
Then I'll change onto the larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really going then, Susie.
We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato.
Thank you so much. I wish you all the very best.
Miss Susato, I'd hoped that to have you always by my side, to guide me and support me.
Mr. Naruhodo!
Are you proposing, sir?
Please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world.
Oh, look at those
Baby.
eyes, baby!
Babu.
Susato!
I'm quite sure. I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, no, don't you forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. A promise? About your manuscript.
Ah! Oh yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles. Those are Ryu Susato's siblings for real. Oh, the doggos of the Baskerville.
Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes.
Do you remember the first time we met?
Yes, of course. On the SS Buria, when I was dragged out from that wardrobe, still half asleep. Gave me 1,000 body slams.
I was about to say a Susato takedown.
If I remember right, you threw me halfway across the cabin with the Susato takedown. See you on the next trip, bozo. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye!
You know very well that I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy.
Miss Susato.
And my instincts were right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure that. I'll be back soon. Farewell until then.
Ooh, anime.
Oh man, is this animated? Yep.
Yeah, let's go, anime!
Alright, put in that budget.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of
I love the British voices.
Or the first volume at least.
Best volume at least. Bye bye.
Looking back now,
It feels as though fate has led me down this journey. Come on, connect to chat.
What kind of face is that?
It's so flumpy.
fate led me to becoming a lawyer.
This is the finale animated scenes because next. Oh no.
Detective.
Gotta make the most of this. That's what.
I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead.
Oh man, Trials and Tribulations reference. Man, you're gonna be remembering that in like another 100 years when your great-great-grandkid's alive.
I'll be able to turn my fortunes around.
It'll turn my fortunes around.
After all,
You are my Wonderwall.
I have the greatest friends in the world. On
It's
my
for once
side.
I will say Ryunosuke's 3D model looks better than the animated version of him.
Where his face is a bit more on the flatter side.
Yeah, yeah. He's still a little precious cinnamon roll though.
Yeah.
Oh, the internet's acting up.
Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I have some rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. Huh?
It caused such a commotion on the line. All the other trains had to wait at stations.
But really, we would never have made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I'll explain everything. And how is it all your fault? Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Miss Susato.
You love defending yourself in court.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
It's alright. I'm perfectly happy to testify. He really didn't look like the sort of man who would do something so outrageous. See?
Mr. Sholmes? Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow.
Oh yes, I love Bruno's words, and I know just the one he'll use here.
Then, I really must say...
Objection!
OBJECTION! Oh man, Ooh, it's all over.
Thank you, Shu.
Thank you, Shu Takumi.
You're the best, Shu.
You're the
Dap
best,
up a
Shu.
brother.
In the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street, all over Europe. Something's afoot, though it transpired I'd ordered them all myself. So I advertised them with the sale used by Sholmes to solve a case. And the money I earned, consulting detective would pay to pin it in comparison. Art direction. Thank you so much for coming along, it's over. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. I needed to make that joke at least once, and it had to be during a time when, like, it was really quiet.
I haven't slept a wink, but when I'm this busy, Hurley usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an overstatement. Some dry toast and insipid coffee. I do miss Susato and her Japanese breakfast.
I also miss Japanese breakfast. That's some wonderful bands.
I don't think a 10-year-old should be having coffee.
Little stimulants. Thanks for Shu for creating Ashley.
Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions. Exactly. Neither do a convent coins hide any mistakes themselves.
Well, Adio Nosa knows his father's an innocent man, or are you calling my son a liar? Witness, the courtroom is no place for your petty arguments. Oh man, it's been so long. Ouch, he's my mom's favorite. I love his... Having delivered the Russian dancer to shore in Shanghai, I'd laid low on my steamship. But last night I apprehended a suspicious national on board. I've done nothing wrong! All I did was give Wagahai offspring refuge in my pocket. A man brings a kitten on board and suddenly some hardened criminal. It's not fair! Oh man, Aoichi's so wonderful. I like his like other versions, like in the Phoenix Wright games. It's like missing his hair. Scientific investigation will be the gold standard in the new age. I dream of a world governed by the tenets in order. Like a great clock, in fact, whose hundreds of parts mesh together in perfect unison. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have but 2 minutes and 30 seconds until my next appointment.
Oh my god, goodbye, Daddy Strongheart.
Goodbye. Called a boy but given birth to kittens. Oh, first trans cat. Congratulations, Swagahai. The latest Rants magazine's out, and I'm in it again. Whenever I say that one line she wrote now, I get a stand ovation. Wanna hear it? Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur. Her ladyship puts me to shame.
I feel bad for the guy who was like making fish and chips because he just lost one loyal customer.
Yeah, it's like wait.
That guy was keeping his business alive.
That dude was putting the kids through like uni.
Been visiting the old girl on a daily basis, of course. Of course, Joni. I must say, battling with the ballet stairs every day has done wonders for the Dicky Peg. I don't know what that is. Managing well in the housework, got his maid business. Hope the gossiping neighbors don't realize the man of the house has his own maid.
Well, Mr. Garadeb, man, he almost like screwed us over during that trial.
He's
that
got,
last
he's
trial.
got the same Pepsi head.
He has the same. What's it called? Mac Tonight.
My Rolly is back on the beat again. Oh, thanks to the Reaper.
There's nothing I enjoyed more than hunting down small change in the gutter. I'm a better Bobby now. Look at Londoners are dropping halfpennies, my lovely wife. And Pat.
Oh, Rolly.
No, the beats.
With little babboos in love.
Babboos in their little bubbly eyes.
Aww. Your husband's a criminal.
Y'all tampered with the evidence.
Looks like I'm gonna be doing time for a bit now. But Iris comes every day for a natter, so it ain't too boring. She's always going about all them cases what Sholmes is looking into. Criminal investigations are kinda interesting when you get into them.
Okay, so Rolly got out of jail because he's a cop, but yet Gina stays in jail.
Gina got the.
One person tampers
Damn.
with a dead body, and he doesn't get to go to jail.
Well, I guess she didn't kind of die.
Ashley!
Yes, I renounced my upbringing and chose a life of sophisticated crime. But regrets? Please.
Give over, bruv. It ain't the Ash we used to.
We got time in here to plan a comeback on Milverton and Skulky's milk run.
The three Muskowatses milking the neighborhood for all it's worth. Oh, my sweeties.
Little babboos.
Oh, the Skulkins are back. Man, we
Back
gotta
together.
We gotta break them out. We gotta get that milk business up and going.
They don't know that. Oh, Ashley is on death row.
Oh no. Fuck.
This past 6 months has been a lifetime since I shall remember. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that's what life is about. Naruhodo-san, I promise, your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories and a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well.
Bro, you took me out, Izzy, by saying he was on death row. I totally forgot he was on death row.
I was like, no, wait. It could, maybe it was life, maybe? And it's like, no, what's it called? They kept on talking about how Magnus McGilded was going to the gallows. Oh, man.
Aww.
Zaza Beast for life.
Zaza Beast.
Oh.
Oh, they put Sholmes in the hot outfit.
I feel like they made Shom so photogenic.
He looks terrible in his detective outfit.
The cap doesn't do him justice at all.
Oh,
boy.
Kazuma! Kiss!
Oh boy.
Kiss!
Kiss. Man, stare at his butt. Voice actors. Oh, it's everybody.
Thank you, Rachna, for voice acting everybody. They should all say Rachna. Rachna, 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 Rachna. Produced by Rachna, voiced by Rachna.
I know this was kind of
Executive producer Rachna, director Rachna.
Man, I feel like this is so tricky because I feel like it's one of those things where I think that a lot of this was maybe recorded during COVID. So I think it was one of those things where they had to really almost kind of like try to dub it like almost like kind of improvisationally in a sense. You know, people recording from home or recording from like kind of like just pieces like together. I remember there was a whole situation about it where it was almost kind of like the 13 Sentinels dubbing where so much of it had been remote because of the pandemic. Ash is on death row for high treason. I always mention that murder's at death. Yeah. Eesh. I wonder if, what's it called? Should I watch the credits, or I guess maybe I should probably sit down and see him. Oh. No, you bastard.
Yeah, they stopped him because he died.
Yeah. Quote unquote didn't die it. Yeah, I guess I'll probably just skip this. I think, what's it called? Once Susato's gone, I'm gone. Once Kazuma's gone, I'm gone.
Yeah, it's not the same without Kazuma.
The Great Ace Attorney Adventures. I think the next one is like the Great Ace Attorney like Revelations.
Oh, look at them! They're so cute. Look, they got married.
Oh, look.
Grooms and groom.
Ah, the flower petals. Let's see.
Does it automatically start with 2?
Oh, it just starts at the dock. I think it's select an adventure. Oh. Whoa.
Wait, how many is there? Oh, only 2?
Just 2. Select an adventure. Yes. Oh, it's playing new music. Guess what my OTP is before we start Resolve?
Wait, are they supposed to be characters we know?
Is it characters we know? I feel like maybe Ashley's one of them. I don't know if maybe one of the dudes in this first case.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over
My
the
OTP is Kazuma and Naruhodo.
in London.
Yeah, I like the Sogi and Naruhodo one, but I'm curious about what this OTP is. Man, I love how all the actors are British. For like
Japanese.
For Susato, and I usually try to vary it out, but I'm like,
no doubt that at this
it's like,
very
I have no
moment,
doubt at
he's
this very
fighting some
moment.
noble cause in court.
Almost kind of sounds like Zelda a bit. The blood moon rises once again.
Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you.
Oh, her dad died of sickness!
Has been such a whirlwind
Oh,
since I returned.
he was down with the sickness.
Addicted.
No, that's really fucked up. The
Sorry.
motherfucker died.
Sorry. Who knows? Maybe this isn't his memorial. Maybe it's the Asogi one. I find myself faced with another awful crime. What?
So I came here today to ask something of you.
To ask. To
Tomorrow,
ask something.
I shall be standing in court
Standing in court.
for the only time in my life
Resource. Recast.
as a lawyer.
As a lawyer. Oh, she's dead? Oh, they made her the first victim.
So please, I ask for your guidance.
Oh shit. Giselle Brent.
Kazuma-sama.
Oh, she's the first one who got killed?
I guess she's the first victim.
Episode 1 The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. I'm gonna become king of the pirates.
Sorry, it's the 4Kids urge. I have to do all of the episode titles like this. The 13th August, 826. The Antechamber.
Here I am again, after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judiciary of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself.
Sorry, I should probably save this. The unspeakable story. There we go. If getting into One Piece, guess my favorite character.
Usopp!
Is it Sanji? Or Zoro?
I just want to say Usopp.
Usopp's a fun one. I feel like I still need to get into One Piece. I got like maybe a few chapters in. Helmeppo.
Helmeppo.
Let me see.
None of the, is he the skeleton guy?
Helmeppo, he is, what's it called? A young man with a cleft. Ooh. Oh, there's pre and post. Well, that's cool that he stays around. Sorry, I'm looking up spoilers. I'm like, ooh, this wiki page full of spoilers. He's like this kind of dashing dude. I see like the long hair. His live action version is pretty sharp. Oh, I can kind of see it in the live action one. He kind of looks like Johnny a bit from Guilty Gear.
Oh, he does.
Where he has like kind of like the Johnny chin.
Izzy, you got a thing for blondes, don't you?
The blondes.
You got
The
a thing
spoiled jerk blondes.
I feel so I must steel myself. Oh, he's alive!
Oh, he's alive! I thought he died!
At least I didn't feel. I guess I don't have to feel too bad.
You don't have to
about
feel
that
too bad
joke.
about the joke.
Ah, good. You're here. It doesn't do good for a lawyer to be late.
Oh, yes. Good morning, sir.
I hardly recognize you. You've got a fine figure, Counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either.
Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born.
Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say.
Eugene Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who earlier in his life traveled to Great Britain to study the great advances in forensic medical science. And, of course, my brilliant father.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Oh, she's cute!
would I be correct in thinking that you might be my lawyer in trial today? Yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It is complete fabrication, this whole thing. Ray Menabi.
Menbami.
Membami.
Ray Membami. Both the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in my time. She works as a university research laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial, accused of committing a truly awful murder.
The girl's so rectangle.
Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, you have become a little flushed. Oh my. It's just that you look so gallant and dashing.
Oh yeah, Saphirix, let's go!
Sorry. And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful.
Lesbians!
Alright.
Yes, this is our Kazuma, but
My
not really.
Sapphic win.
Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am.
It would appear our little plan for this trial is going to work.
Oh, what? What do you mean, Professor Mikotoba?
I'm cross-dressing.
If even the best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax.
Yeah, I guess Susato's cross-dressing.
Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course. So I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, you say, Father. Father? What? Is that really you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say anything sooner, Ray. No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. Look at you. You look from all the world just like a student of Imperial Yume University, a male student. I'm so glad you think so. It means that my preparations have been worthwhile. I've woke at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see...
It was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial.
My defense?
What about her voice?
Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body.
Ooh, trans.
Oh yeah, I guess it's kind of like almost like that, I guess a sort of dysphoric feeling. I guess maybe she probably tried to do like voice training, I guess, to be able to kind of get there. Maybe I should try it. Voice training.
Courts in Japan are barred from women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato, you'd go through such lengths for me? Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be your lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Ray. It's so strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman, what a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Ray, please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes.
Let's go.
Oh, I'm sorry. You really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice.
You should be pleased. I mean, you look convincing as a man.
I'm so pleased, I think. It certainly helped to boost my confidence today.
Oh man, having a little gender euphoria, being able to dress this way.
Ray,
My best friends.
you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I notice how your shoulders are slumped and how you tremble ever so slightly.
Susare isn't my top tier, but it's peak.
Susato? You believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind of your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be by your side, because that's the way it means to be a defense lawyer. That means so much to me, Susato.
Defendant, counsel, court is about to begin. Proceed in the courtroom at once. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
Oh? Stand aside!
I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast.
Well, Susato, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom with no prior experience of being a lawyer.
There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming how Raid doesn't know how it came to this.
Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case on. I didn't want her to be burdened with that.
And it's true? The reason why every other lawyer refused to take the case? Is it really because who the victim was?
We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do whatever I can to support my students.
Thank you, Father.
I want to see what she looks like.
I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times I wished that he were here, I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san.
Oh, my neck. I slept on it the wrong way, and it's been so rough ever since. Oh man, back in the old, not Bailey.
This court is now in session to hear the trial of Rei Membami.
The court prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
Oh man, it's, what's his name? From, SMT. What's it called? The detective, Raido Kusunoha.
Oh, it does look like Ryo Kuzunoga.
Raido Kusunoha, yeah.
He also looks like that one guy from Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency. We are ready.
Ready.
Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryotaro Naruhodo. Is that correct?
Sorry?
Oh, yes. That's the name I've come up with, a suitable male name for you in this little venture. So I'm afraid to say, I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel.
Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryotaro, he who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan.
Ah,
He's so cute.
it seems Ryotaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it so.
The Ryu is genetic.
And those wild, wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen.
Naruhodo? A fresh face in the court, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be?
You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as far as the study program. This is,
His cousin!
That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called in the capital in this trial.
Oh no. My controller. Oh, jeez. Come on. Let's see. Forget it.
I assure you, in matters of the law, his knowledge rivals that of any Tokyo's preeminent lawyers.
Any of them. Tut, tut, tut. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused had to call in a country boy. How dare you! Susato is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. Her? Oh, Please be careful, Ray. Ha ha! What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant, dashing lawyer up to the challenge to defend you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest he's not. I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san's going through. Like it or not, eyes are wont to flit.
The case will be heard in the matter of the great significance of our national interest. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume the outcome of this trial may very well affect the future of our empire.
Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet, for the proceeding of such importance, we have this unknown yokel from the dock. Dear me.
Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense, to determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you are standing now, this same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will not be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions?
Alright, it's time to prove myself. Yes, Your Excellency. But please don't make them simple.
Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim.
Whew, that's simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. Ah.
What's the matter?
Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are wont to blank.
It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in the position, and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little bit.
Oh dear, this is a dismal failure.
Don't fret. You only need to use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem.
Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst the key information about the case in the court record.
That's right. Use the E key to court record. And you will need to flip the people section with E. And don't take too long over it. The Excellency will watch you closely. He knows you're using your keyboard.
Alright, check the court record with E. That's where the information will be. That's where the information will be.
Giselle, British. Let's see. And then a cause of death, stab wound from behind, piercing a lung, hemorrhage. Death would occur within minutes. Was observed from bits in both eyes. E. And then we'll look into these folks. Objection. Victim of the case, the Meiji era, best friend, defendant.
I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case?
Hi, son. I'm your dad. Hope you're happy now in this 3D world. Hi, Ferdinand Celine Zero. How's it going?
Ferdinand, from
Von Eyck. No, it's not Von Eyck. I'm sorry.
Ferdinand von Eycker.
I'm sorry, son. Everything that happened to you, it's all my fault. Forgive me.
It's okay, Dad.
It's okay, Dad.
It's okay, Dad. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett.
A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of this country, I'm sure. Correct. Being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question to you. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own judicial history? Obviously, I wouldn't forget the case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need's in the courtroom.
Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett, behind the woman's student persona, was the face of...
A killer. Let me see if it's an E though, let's see. Yeah, she was found guilty of murder. Behind the woman's student persona was killer.
9 months ago, a visiting professor of the medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett.
Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with Great Britain. It was in the midst of all this delicate diplomatic situation the incident occurred. An Englishman, Mr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikatoba. Oh, I used the Mikatoba voice from... Yes, I was indebted to the man. He had been my mentor when we went to London to study forensics. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our old soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-degree English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Miss Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to the Empire's laws. It was decided she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. Why Shanghai?
There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally set upon only last week. All that remained of her empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the English woman was killed. Oh, only the day before?
That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle.
Now, a summation of your incident, if you please. Prosecutor Iuchi.
is your wish, Your Excellency? The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August, in broad daylight. On the outskirts of the imperial capital, under the bright blue sky of the secluded bathing spot by the sea, an incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest and change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung, an injury which proved fatal. There were 2 persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing suit, and the accused, Ray Menbami. Accordingly, there's no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we considered she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Well, that extraordinary description of the event leaves me lost for words, I must say.
That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary
Was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions.
As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel of what he said. A powerful motive.
You're clearly exaggerating. A powerful motive is a blatant overstatement. Tut tut tut. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon? No matter. Let us put the accused, shall we? Minbami-san, you're a researcher assistant at Imperial Yume University, I believe.
Yes, I am.
I'm working with Professor Mikatoba in his laboratory at the moment.
I can confirm. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikatoba, whose research were you assisting then?
It was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson.
Dr. John H. Wilson, a visiting English professor who was murdered 9 months ago by Giselle Brett.
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true?
Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. And tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the English woman you killed him.
Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what I had seen done. A powerful hatred. Oh, no, Ray. Be careful what you're saying.
The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Well, it was clearly a trap all along.
How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details. Something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel about what he said.
Being alone together.
Menbami-san.
Yes,
What is it? Naruhodo-san. I'm really starting to wish I'd make my alias Ryotaro Susato. Please, tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place. And why you were there alone with her.
Oh, well, no. That's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett, for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion. That's all. But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in a hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there's no other reason why the young woman accompanied Miss Brett to the bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance at taking the victim's life. Oh, no. Because as we know, the following day you would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have the opportunity to dispatch her again. Kindly refrain from conjecture, Counsel.
The prosecution seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him goad you.
Oh dear, this is really terrifying. The father's right. We need more information. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel and what he said about
the bathing spot.
If I may, Professor Aoichi. What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student? I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot. Ah! My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practice from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins. No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? For old time's sake, I believe. Sorry. Miss Brett was to depart from Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day on our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply. But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it is decided with the dedicated detective on duty. Nothing could go wrong. But in fact, a murder took place. I said don't look at me. It was the young student girl who did it, not I. No one was proved it yet.
I wouldn't provoke the man if no need to. I believe we have all the clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions.
Seeing the murder of a mentor for whom she had such great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty?
Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment.
Poor Ray. So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Yes. Thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
As you can clearly see, there's nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden.
The court will accept the photographic print as evidence. As I understand it, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to this case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Wait,
Witnesses? But who? One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
Very well then, Counsel. Bring forth the witnesses.
I, TGAA2, have been waiting for this moment.
sorry?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten that trial 9 months ago, here in the courthouse, when that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me. Ah! Ryunosuke Naruhodo!
Yes?
This insult to the Aochi family name will never be forgotten.
You've become conceited with age, Counsel, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
How did he glue that little hair in the middle?
I guess during the time he grew the little hair in the middle.
Strike
How does that work?
It's like the one place where hair could finally thrive.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot had been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
The start of your own mini Meiji revolution? Are you modernizing as well, Counsel?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the Aochi growth. You see the seed of hope sprouting forward from the barren expanse of my crown?
I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see it. Where? And where is the hope exactly?
I said silence! Today, I face another Yoko student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you! And my victory will be the fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand.
It looks as if the stakes are high on both sides of the trial. The prosecution and the defense each have much to lose.
A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. Alright, let's see them witnesses.
Wait a minute.
Oh no.
Oh no, this is everybody from last game.
Everyone weird from the last game, too. The guy that stole evidence and the guy who freaks out.
They just happened to be there.
So Seki.
Witnesses, state your names and occupations after the court.
Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can't go undetected. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital. And in fact, yes. Soon to be sold out, a satirical Alien Cat, sensational success, by Ryodas, by Suzuki Natsume. Oh man, the guy behind him. Hot man journalist. Look at this dude.
Yeah,
Man,
this guy's kind of attractive.
Man, low key, damn. He kind of looks like a Lupin character.
Oh my goodness.
Struggling student from the provinces. Please, you needn't be in awe of me.
I needn't.
I ship him at Ashley. Oh, the photographer dude? Man, not half bad.
It's a cute couple.
It's only natural that you'd feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please, relax. Call me Soseki even.
Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here?
Tread carefully, Susato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun.
Yes. Yes, of course. I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him.
Actually doing dramatic poses and the hot journalist taking photos of Soseki. Those colors look nice together.
Although it does seem like he's changed sometime in the last 6 months. Or so that it's been since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe.
Do I have something on my face?
Well, your glasses for one. Although, they don't seem to be helping you, see? Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either.
Ah, I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in my clothes was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Very well. I appreciate why the Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene of the crime, Soseki-san?
Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture on the morning of the incident in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, nonetheless. I think I might be another half hour, possibly.
Yume University?
After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with the researcher from the medical science department. Ashton Mambo. This is a good nickname. The professor over there, in fact.
With Professor Mikotoba?
Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or the other about the two former students who studied in Great Britain.
Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leaves me alone. The Secret Spy, snapshots, scribbled stories, and scupper my privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial, struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies.
Thank you very much. He practically threw that paper at me.
The article has been included.
I didn't expect Natsume to end up being such a...
To be a lot more, like, I guess, a lot less nervous while he's at home.
Yeah, but also, like, full of himself.
Yeah, while he's at home here, like, I guess he struck it gold with the cat story. So, like, apparently he just kind of has this huge ego now that he's back home, but, like, back when we last saw him, he was freaking out. Anyway, following the interview with the professor,
The lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course.
At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as the detective accompanies her.
That detective, I am at the liberty to divulge, was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga.
Thereby, the entire party departed cordially from the seaside, it seems.
It was extremely challenging to clear all the other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry it out flawlessly.
Oh my. Inspector, you have something on your face now.
Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize.
Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father?
No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that, as my assistant Ray was invited to take my place.
Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline an invitation. Ah! But if only I had! I never had seen that awful sight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret.
Oh man, the guy's going nuts behind him.
Very well. I must ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account that you are witnessed in your impromptu excursion on the coast.
Of course, Your Excellency.
Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am.
That's where the stress comes in. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise.
I had just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me.
I ran into the beach hut at once when I found the pair in question.
Yes! The young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly.
I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times.
Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both the witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime.
What? Now, if you'll recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, it was damning evidence.
What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it?
Correct. I found it at the scene of the crime whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify the killer.
What? Your Excellency, if you cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more.
Oh, goodness me! Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberate in her hands.
That's right, the fountain pen. And if you kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency.
Ah, the owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. R.M. Raymond Ami. The initials of the defendant.
No!
This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence.
So, have I omitted anything? Decisive testimony and damning evidence? There's a bright blue sky out in the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
I don't understand. The prosecutor Aoichi of 9 months ago had none of this man's poise.
Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san.
Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes! Me!
Is there another Naruhodo in the courtroom?
Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom.
Cousin Ryotaro, pull yourself together, please.
Alright. I've seen this countless times as judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness's testimony to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to this. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. Let's see. Let's press the witnesses. In that Johnny disguise?
Correct. Wait, no. I mean, it wasn't the first time I'd worn a swimsuit to dip in the ocean. It's tried and tested.
Do what must be done to keep the English woman under surveillance. Those were my orders that day. And this tried and tested outfit was the answer? Being able to blend flawlessly into the crowd is an important part of a detective's job. I submerged myself in the salty water, leaving only Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously on the surface. Mr. Turtle loves the water. But there's no need to blend into the background for this assignment, really. Was there?
If I made you arriving at the scene, if that made you late arriving to the scene, I think perhaps you had your priorities wrong.
Mr. Turtle loves the water. Trust me, this is a saltwater turtle and not a freshwater turtle. Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of question any further. I just managed to catch a crab. Let's see. Oh, no, come on. Pris. Ah! You're describing the victim's scream, I presume, Soseki-san. In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could have pierced the heavens. Yeah! Or like... Of course, that's just a metaphor. We renowned authors are wont to describe things so. So Seki-san wasn't all like this in England. Anyway, I spurred around the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze. Yes, the beach hut. The area is popular with government ministers. Many have seaside retreats there for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always been quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure erected as a place for people to change or to take refuge in. Oh, there's even the crab, too. Although the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself,
which meant I was forced to change into my swimwear on the sand.
Ah, I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you.
Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside, headed for the beach hut at the run. Or, in more literary terms, I decrabbled. I decrabbed and beetled off hutwise. Ran to the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Let's keep pressing. Oh wait, no. Let me examine some of these. Oh no, it's just examine here. Oh, what a blowhard. Oh, Wagahai. Or at least another cat like Wagahai. Soseki in good spirits. Ooh, it is a boy. I found the pair in question. Let's press.
Wait, by pair you don't mean to say. But how could that be?
No, you misunderstand. Obviously, I meant the victim and the defendant, Raymond Bami-san.
Or it would have been helpful if you just said that from the outset.
If you jump to conclusions, you'll have to expect to fall flat on your face sometimes.
Dear me, pinning your hopes on such an outside chance? Foolish, very foolish.
Oh, Wagahai's kitten named Waggling. Oh.
It really was an outside chance. I just wish I'd realized that before I said something silly.
Let's see. Well, it was a sorry sight. A really grisly scene. I parted the Norin curtain hanging in the doorway and stepped aside only to see the defendant leaning menacingly over the lifeless body of the victim sprawled on the sand. My glasses nearly cracked at the ominous sight that met my eyes.
How thoroughly appalling! Ugh. He doesn't appear to be lying here. Well, Soseki-san, can you confirm what Inspector Hosonaga is saying, I wonder?
Ah, you'd like a literary man's opinion. And then press.
Stabbed wildly. You actually saw her do it?
Oh, indeed. The terrible specter, terrapin inspector. Torrent, bloody torrent, the author's torment. I should actually try to rhyme this. The terrible specter, the terrapin inspector, the bloody torrent, the author's torment.
Eek!
Every sight and every sound is still carved into my melancholy memory. That was my impression, at least, as a future literary sensation.
Cancel! What on earth was that shrill, effeminate scream?
Hey, don't be mean to me.
No. No. What are you insinuating? I'm as manly a Japanese man as you.
I wonder if I might interject here, Soseki-san. Something you said is troubling me. That was my impression, were your words just now, I believe.
So, what do you mean to say? You're not confident that you really believe in what you described?
No! Yes! I know what I saw! My ears didn't deceive me when I heard that scream. Hence my eyes didn't deceive me either. I could describe everything I saw vividly. I could publish it all in tomorrow's newspaper serial.
It sounds as though the next installment of I Am a Cat may take a macabre turn.
I think this is a fool's errand. The more we press your author friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become.
Oh dear. How awkward. She was stabbed multiple times? How can you be so sure of that?
Very simply, from the blood on the blade.
The blood?
When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air. Yes, that's right! I saw it too!
Oh,
And I noted that there was blood on the blade already by that point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived at the scene. Yes, that's right! I saw it too! And the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand too. All of which meant that I can be sure the victim did not die instantly. Yes, right! I saw it too!
maybe a year in London was too much for him. He sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese.
The logic of your argument is sound at least. Well, as I said, it is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly.
Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly. That's just my personal opinion, of course.
Ooh, Sass Master.
Man, sick burn.
Sick burn.
Oh, not trying to cough for pity.
Remember, he's.
Counsel, you will refrain from mocking the witness. Objection, craveable material fact. It was Ivan Karma. How's it going? It was objection, heresy.
Oh no. I have just so many thoughts whirling around my head. It's all I can do is stare here, wide-eyed and mute.
Goodness, my dear. You must try to calm down. But how am I supposed
to find an inconsistency in what these two gentlemen are saying? I don't even know why either of them would have reason to lie.
Objection, nerd. Objection. What you must have remember, I think, is that the witnesses may inadvertently lie at times. For various reasons, a misunderstanding, a mistaken observation, a delusion even.
A delusion.
What's important is we determine the truth. There's only one sure way to do that.
Yes, with evidence, of course.
Spoken like a true judicial assistant. I don't know any more objection. It's okay. You may pick a piece and present. You will need to listen carefully and compare what the details in the court say. You find some conflicting information, that may be the inconsistency you're looking for.
Yes, it's all about inconsistencies.
Once more, you've identified the witness's statement that appears to conflict with a piece of evidence. Present it at once.
Yes! Alright then. I'll consider the details of all the evidence in the court records against each statement to find an inconsistency. I hope I'm up to the task.
Don't forget you have the witnesses to repeat their statements. Everyone has to start at the beginning, remember? So those wide eyes are quite forgivable. And besides, there's no one else to defend the poor girl.
You're right. I need to listen to the testimony again, from the start.
Let's see, disguise, crab, beach hut. Let me see what supports any of this. I guess it would be E. Time of the death was after 2. Trauma in the lung, knife blade. A single wound. Stab wound was in the back. Because, like, let me examine some of these. I really think it's this. Because what's it called? It's a single deep stab wound and not multiple. Man, if I get docked for this, I'm gonna be so upset. Fuck! The sound.
The witness's statement is definitively contradicted by this piece of evidence.
Is that so, Counsel? Perhaps you would like to explain precisely how.
How? Well, definitively.
Contradiction lies in your statement. You've fucked up.
Perhaps I need to reconsider.
Let's see. The post-mortem on statement 5. Wait! That's what I presented. It was just at statement 4. How did that not register? If I pressed him on what he saw, then it would show the contradiction. Stabbed multiple. I guess I had to do it from Hosonaga. Man, shithead.
Objection!
With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san had stood up here on this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed.
What is the meaning of that menacing pose, Counsel?
I'd like the witness to clarify something to me.
Oh, what? Where? When? How?
Not you, Soseki-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga.
At me?
In your statement just now, you said the victim was stabbed multiple times.
Yes, that's right. As I said when I entered the hut. The defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand like a murderous demon.
And yet, that cannot be.
What?
Get to the point, please, Counsel.
In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only.
Oh,
In other words, Inspector Hosonaga's testimony is clearly flawed. And Soseki-san,
Me?
you claim to have seen Membabi-san in the throes of stabbing the victim.
Yes, I did. Wildly.
But both you and the inspector confirm the same point. That there was already blood on the knife you saw the defendant holding.
Yes, and
It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon that was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there was no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
true.
then what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us?
Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Sosaki in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body.
That can't be.
Excellent work, Susato. You exploded them at the moment with the objection, and proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in the trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection, attempting to steal the show.
You're right. There were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child then it's out with the prosecution, who has only a head of hair.
Slender! My head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk about stabbing or drawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference.
What? Why not?
Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged a deadly weapon in the victim was a fatal blow. And that was the moment, just as she withdrew the blade with her next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood, because the accused was already stabbed the victim.
Uh-huh.
All you have sufficiently shown with your little display is that the mustached author is prone to moments of extravagance.
What?
I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her action to be viewed with suspicion.
But what if she was withdrawing the blade?
Then we are back where we started.
Sorry?
Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she uphold the blade from the victim? And with the demon's cold-blooded composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation, and it better be good.
Why did Ray pull out the knife?
Oh yes, going for the jugular.
What would his father mean by that?
Let the court hear your answer then, counsel.
The truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife out of the victim's body was surely so that she could save her life. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant.
That's correct. It is though she would have remained conscious for a short while, sustaining her injury.
Indeed, giving her the time to take a jot of this piece of evidence clearly indicates her killer.
The point is, being a medical research assistant, Mibami-san was compelled to act when faced with a wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life.
Did you hear, Your Excellency? It would seem the best we can expect of this young yokel is this.
Indeed.
Is it me, or does it suddenly feel colder in here?
Your Excellency, if I may.
Speak, witness.
I would like another opportunity to testify. With respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the yokel defense counsel, I mean.
Slipshod?
An excellent idea, Inspector. A young yokel, hopeful of a modicum of knowledge when it comes to law, it seems. But in a matter of medicine, it appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion.
Yes, sir. I will do it flawlessly. Alright, I really need to save and head out. It's getting so late. I'm so tired.
Oh, Rock
I'm
is
so
tired.
Sorry. It's not that. I'm just so... What's it called? I feel like the Aochi voice sometimes takes a lot out of me. Because it gets so high-pitched. But there's no other way I can do the voice. Because what... Wait a second. Did everything save properly?
Yeah, I remember it saving.
Yeah. Sorry, I X'd out of it. And I got really paranoid. Let's see. Sorry, I know that what's it called? The chord for this gets really touchy. So sometimes like I have to kind of rely on the keyboard.
I'm
Or
sorry.
like times. It's not your fault. This is really touchy. I am. I guess loading. Yeah,
I'm really
same as-
touchy.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you all for coming along, and thank you so much, Shamana, for being a part of this.
Thank you. I just sat around and did nothing.
Oh no, you
I
chimed
was just
in.
here to be cute.
No, it's fine. It's nice to chime in. It's nice to be able to have like a little back and forth.
I just like to ask a lot of questions because some stuff doesn't make sense to me.
No worries. I know sometimes it can be really tricky to make sense of a lot of it. I think when you deal with like something where there's so much info, where they dump so much info on you, sometimes like the details start to kind of get a little like screwy.
Like, I just want to know, like, all of the little things that, like, that just kind of, they don't explain in the game. Like, for example, like, how I said, like, oh, what happened with the book that Iris had? And, I mean, obviously, Izzy said that they kept it in the pawn shop for safekeeping. But, like, they never really explained that to you. It just made you have this whole sob story about how Sholmes is a terrible person and Iris is, like, over here sad about her book being like taken away.
Because I guess a lot of the payoff is probably going to be the idea that they're gonna talk about the book probably when the happens, when they start talking more about like, I guess like the relationship that John H. Wilson had with Sherlock.
Oh, okay. So you think it's gonna be like more mentioned in this arc?
I imagine it'll be something where in this particular game, like part 2, there's gonna be there's gonna be like a court like trial where they approach the subjects, or they talk about the book more having like secrets or something like that.
I'm just impatient when I'm like, you guys just can't keep open loopholes for me, and I want answers. I need answers. Give me the answers.
They drop little kernels here and there, and you're just, or little breadcrumbs, and you're just supposed to chase after them.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, no, I need the answers now. Like, it just doesn't help. And it's like, I mean, I think it's very interesting how everything connects to the second game, where it's going to be something like, oh, it just kind of moves over, and it just kind of makes you feel like there's like a bigger picture to everything. But at the same time, like, it's hard to know if those little things would be answered in the actual second like version of the game.
It's wild. I was looking at it, and I think like it was kind of released like 2 years apart. I think, the first game was like 2015 and the second was 2017. So I think by that point they were almost kind of cross-referencing like what could be included into that as like a part 2, or like it was written as like an entire cohesive thing, but they had to split it up for so much. I feel like it was such a weird instance, and of course I remember Izzy mentioning the budget kind of starting to be a bit short,
which really sucks because I think the anime, it'll like little like cutscenes are really cute, and it just reminds you that you're playing like an anime like game, even though obviously the 3D models are like anime like. It's just kind of nice to have a little bit of cutscenes here and there.
Yeah, sometimes the cutscenes are a bit of spice. I feel like the Ace Attorney series gets kind of like weird, I guess, sort of support from Capcom, because I feel like sometimes I feel like even though there's such a huge market for it, or at least a huge market for some of it, like for some reason they don't see it as like a sustainable thing that could like, I feel like it's only recently they started kind of noticing a lot more people buying it, or a lot more people kind of being feverishly kind of into it. Just because I think usually by the time these come out, like some of it gets a little stifled because like a lot of it's so far down the road, or some of it's on like the 3DS or like consoles like kind of within their like kind of sort of end of life cycle. Because, like, if part 2 was already kind of taking place by the time, like, 2017 was around, the 3DS was already kind of, like, almost being sunsetted a bit for the Switch. So then you just have all this kind of stuff where there's just kind of almost, like, this perfect storm of bad luck that seems to come from the Ace Attorney series. Just by virtue that it's very successful and very popular, but at the same time, like, all this stuff happens, like it just gets like severely under budget, or like there's a lot of kind of almost kind of roundabout ways they have to work around like having not as much to work with. And like it's kind of impressive because like the writing of these games is really good, at least.
Yeah.
So it seems like something where a lot of the ways that people end up like kind of, I guess not overcompensating, but ways of almost kind of making up for the fact that it's a lot more difficult to sell is the fact that the games are well written. So even if like it doesn't get as much attention as it needs, the people that consume, or anyone that even just like kind of brushes against Ace Attorney, like is going to be impressed with what they read. Or it's kind of like sort of a lot of people in the West like introduction to like visual novels. Like it's one of those things where, you know, you didn't grow up with stuff like, I guess, what's it called, like things like the Fate like visual novels, or Clannad coming over. Like a lot of this stuff either came over far later on, or had been like almost like adamantly like refused to be like translated, because it's like a lot of it is just kind of like smaller games, like it's a lot more niche, not many people would like tackle it. But I think Ace Attorney just broke out so much within like the Western audience that like we wound up really like almost kind of clinging onto it, not just as like kind of like sort of our very first main exposure to the visual novel genre, but also just kind of just ingraining it into sort of our cultural zeitgeist. Like people like doing the objection like point, like that's just something that a lot of people in America know just by connecting it with Phoenix Wright.
I'd love to see it on a TV show. That would be, what a great reference that would be on a TV show. Like, I would love it if, like, some character was like, objection! And it's like, oh, look, they did the thing! They did that thing from that thingy! I love it!
I feel like a lot of web series get really super into it. Or definitely a lot of web cartoons. Like, I feel like I remember Panty and Stocking having, like, a Phoenix Wright reference.
I mean, is Panty and Stocking considered to be Western media?
It's, I guess, more Japanese, but more Western inspired.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be things where, like, Americans would be able to point out a Phoenix Wright reference. You know, he showed up in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, like...
Wait a minute. So, like, does he throw books at you?
He kind of throws papers at you. Like, he has two different stages. He's kind of a low-tier character because he's kind of a pain in the ass to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Because the main thing is that, what's it called? There's two stages. One is, like, the contemplative stage. So, you know how Ryunosuke, like, scratches his head, freaks out, like, just kind of bumbles his way through court?
Yeah.
That's something that Phoenix Wright uses as a weapon. Where, like, he'll scratch his head and it counts as, like, a punch. Or he'll trip on himself and it'll count as a kick. But then there's a second phase where, like, if you gather enough evidence and you switch to the second one, you're able to kind of fire off a lot more attacks. And that's sort of like the confident, like, objection kind of stuff. Because you just have him, like, throwing papers and being like, I have evidence. Shoots beams at you. I have evidence. I need to show it off at some point.
Yeah, that's really funny. I feel like maybe one time we should watch one of those. I don't know if they get translated, but I was seeing like scenes of like a theater play where they were doing the Great Ace Attorney, and they had like Van Zeek's, like, it looked like it was played by a woman. Van Zeek's putting his leg on the table and everything.
I did see the live action like theater version of the Great Ace Attorney where like, yeah, Van Zeek's is doing the leg thing. They do the what's it called, the bottle throw.
Yeah,
like they do all of the theatrics,
which is really fucking cool.
It's really neat. I'm so jealous. They had like, what's it called, like a kabuki, like Final Fantasy X like play, like, and that's something where I would have given so much to be able to see that. Oh, sorry, my cat bit me.
What are you doing? Stop it. Stop biting people.
The cat proves really
man,
sniffy.
she's really feeling like, maybe she just wants attention.
Maybe it's half attention, one wanting to eat early.
It's too early for her to eat.
Like, everything's going nuts. My cat's biting me. Siri almost turned on.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to be ending the stream, and I just ended up talking.
I know I'm supposed to be ending it, yeah. At least, what's it called? It was an entertaining conversation instead of me just kind of, like, stumbling into, like, my sign-off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before I head out, I am going to give my signature send-off, which is poking my enchanted beauty mark, poking the mic, and sending out all kinds of positive vibes. Alright. It's too early to eat. Well, kid, you don't know how to read time.
Leo!
Hi, Leo.
Hi, Leo. How you doing? You're late. We leaving.
I'm sorry. Hi.
It's okay. It's okay. You don't need to apologize. I'm just
good.
teasing you.
It's all good. No worries.
You want to be the main person of the show? We'll just talk to you only.
I know it's gonna be through my, I guess, what's it called, my lip flaps. Don't be too alarmed if you hear Amana's voice from, what's it called, this cute little alien boy.
Pa 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 pa.
Hi, I'm Rockna. I smell like eggs.
Hi, I'm Rockna. I'm Stinky. Oh, Stinky.
Hey, stop.
I'm Rockna, and I like to eat people.
Why don't we eat people? That's bad.
I'm an alien that eats people.
I'm not a scary alien. I'm a cute one. I enchant the airwaves with my abilities, just like E.T. did.
He poisons the airwaves. Watch out! Watch out!
He plays dirty music. He says obscene things.
He says dirty things on stream. How dare he? Says the girl who played a game about like men who are like prostitutes. E.T. and Q.
E.T. and Q.
You mean when he shriveled up into a raisin, he wasn't cute, Leo?
Man, I have the FCC and Roswell after me.
Not the FCC. Is that who was after E.T.?
No, it's just because I poisoned the airwaves. Apparently, only according to you. I don't poison the airwaves.
Amanda comes to your stream just to like talk shit about you. Come to my streams and talk shit about me. Call me Stinky too.
It's like, go to Amana's streams. She's really funny.
Don't go to my streams. I'm boring.
You have a really good time. You stream so many good things. Like what's it called? The visual novel.
You want to watch, guys? You want to watch me play a visual novel where I romance like men who are courtesans, gentlemen of the night.
Yeah, the man of Yoshiwara.
Yoshiwara. YOSHIWARA. Yoshiwara.
Yoshiwara. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play a lot of that. You play a lot of what's it called? Like Fortnite on Sundays. I know you got something planned with what's it called? With Nightshade coming up.
Yeah, with Nightshade, me and Beal are going to be doing a collab where she's going to go full gremlin mode and embarrass me because I get so embarrassed when I have to read like visual novels and the guys are like, I love you. And I'm like, oh my god, no, not you love me. No, it can't be true. They're like, Amana, I love you.
So yeah, use emotional damage. If Ragna starts to deliver some sick burns, I may use it all on emotional damage. I have to start being mean on her streams.
You should come to my streams. Maybe tomorrow Ragna can come to my streams. He's like, no.
I mean, I can come to your stream.
He's like, no, thank you. I'd rather be doing something else.
That depends. What are you streaming tomorrow?
I think I'm streaming River City Girls. So
I can pop in.
There's not nuts. There's not nuts.
There's no nuts to hang.
There's no nuts to hang around, guys. You can just like sit around and we can just chat. Maybe we can have a chatting stream too. We can just like dick around and chat. Because I feel like we can
be able to mull about it. I may have a free afternoon tomorrow. I can get early for once. Nice.
I probably will start the stream around 5:30, which I think would be 6:30 your time, Leo. Oh, Leo, good news. Soon in November, we're going to have daylight savings time here in the U.S. and we'll be on the same time zone again. Because right now I'm 1 hour behind you because the U.S. is really stupid. And we do daylight savings time. Is it daylight savings time or daylight saving time?
I thought it was daylight saving.
Saving without the S?
Saving?
Yeah, synchronicity.
Synchronicity?
Synchronicity?
Synchronicity for the win.
For the win, let's go.
Alright.
Alright, Ragna's like, we gotta go now, bitch. Stop talking. I'm just gonna keep talking. If you don't stop me, I'll just keep talking. I'm talking more in your stream than I talk in my stream. Well, that was the Great Ace Attorney 2. I hope you guys had a fun time. Yeah, you have a good night, Leo. And have some good sleep and some good rest. And I hope you have some wonderful dreams.
You have a wonderful night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, 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 bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.